Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Bhuvnesh is getting even with us to do a session immediately after lunch. The wonderful part of a session after lunch is there are more people on the stage than there in the audience. So we can get away with practically anything. So you and I are going to have a conversation regardless and enjoy the conversation. Hopefully, the couple of people who are here will get something out of it. What you missed in the, probably in the AV is, I'll just tell you, is Dr. Binod Chaudhary heads the CG group, which is Nepal's largest multinational conglomerate. They're into multiple businesses, hospitality being one, FMCG, telecom, real estate, cement, electronics, food. The list goes on and on. But suffice it to say that they have a very, very large and significant presence in Nepal and outside Nepal. We're going to talk largely about the hospitality sector with Binod today. But just as a starting point, tell us a little bit about this group which started humble beginnings, I think, in 1935, if I'm not mistaken. And then you've grown it and taken it to a very, very different sphere.
Well, thank you, Mandeep. I think we all owe a little explanation to the audience that they, all the same, doesn't matter. I think all our friends, and as a matter of fact, I feel extremely delighted to come back to the hospitality, India's hospitality doyens and fraternity, after a gap of a couple of years, probably post-COVID. This is the first major event which I'm attending. So I want to present my compliments and greetings to all of you. I see so many faces here who used to be part of my life for over 25 years when we started our first journey. I wanted to start, just to put a little bit into perspective, wanted to build a hotel, one hotel in Nepal. And that didn't happen until maybe 15 years ago. And landed up doing a partnership with Taj for Maldives and Sri Lanka. That's how our journey in hospitality space started. That was not a easy situation by any means, where Sri Lanka was that time. But that opened a completely new foray of a new business which saw no boundaries. Then we started to grow. And today, to a large extent, the companies, except for the strategic issues, is run by Rahul Chaudhary, who's sitting here. And I'm proud that Rahul and his partner, Sohail, is also sitting here, the managing director of the Concept Hotel. I think together they run some 168 hotels worldwide. My dearest, Mr. Puneet Chatwal, has left in the morning after the session. I must acknowledge that my learning of the hotel industry, my relationship of the hotel industry, my understanding of the industry, not within India as well as, but all over the world, comes from Taj. That's a partnership which is very, very dear to me. They've, of course, gone ahead and opened new relationships ranging from Radisson. Bhushanji will be very happy, Mr. Kachur, in New York, to Fairmont, friends in Core, in Kenya, in Masai Mara. We are part of brands like Concept, Fern. Sohail has done a great job. I think they recently opened 100 hotels. Our farm, the Destination Wellness, remains probably one of the most known, iconic wellness business, very successful in Philippines, etc. So that's my short introduction, which a video was supposed to do about my engagement with our engagement with the hospitality. Thank you.
So it's obviously a fabulous story, from wanting to build one hotel to now 163 hotels.
And we have 6 in Nepal, by the way, now. Out of them, 5 are with Taj.
Yes, we've known that you've signed with Taj, and you're probably doing one with
One will be St. Regis.
Yeah, St. Regis with Marriott. So tell us, what pulled you towards hospitality? Was it an early part of your business, investments, or did it come much later to the financial services and the food business that you're in? Was it a later sort of interest that attracted you towards hospitality, or was it something that came much earlier as a thought to you?
No, I would say it's, to be very candid, it was destiny. As I mentioned, we wanted to do a hotel in Nepal. I guess most of the successful business families try to get into hotel business without understanding hotel business in their own city as a mark of their presence and face. That was also kind of a thinking we had, but my friend Rajiv Gujral, who's no more part of the ISCL, he used to head Nepal, including the international division that time, and he was a YPO, and we were together. Our relationship goes back many years. So he said, listen, we have a litigation going on in Nepal, so we can't do a Taj in Nepal. But if you want, I can take you to Sri Lanka. And we can, you can come with me, and we are looking for a partner, Sri Lanka. And then one thing led to the other. I thought for a while that you are my friend or enemy, because that was really the year when 6 aircrafts were bombed in Sri Lankan Colombo airport. Sri Lanka was really going through one of the toughest time in the history. So that, I think, and we were always, we wanted to open new frontiers, take the group outside Nepal. This was 1990. To be precise, 98 was the time when we signed the deal with Mr. Krishna Kumar, who just taken over the Taj Group, ISCL as MD. And that gave us a new entry into the global market. And that continues to remain one of the 5 major verticals where we are growing globally. We are in telcos, we own telecom businesses in different parts. We are in banking, both in Nepal and in Sri Lanka, and now in Moldova. We are in real estate. Our Dubai office does real estate in several places. And food, YY. I think many of you would know that is a business which we started 45 years ago, and we have 27 locations where we produce about 3% of the world's noodle production.
Wow. So interestingly, hotels seems to be a sort of focus area for you. You have hotels now, what? Nepal, India, UAE, Philippines.
About 12 countries.
Africa,
12.
and now in the US as well. So is the foray going to be focused more on international development? When I say international, I'm saying outside of India and Nepal. Or are you going to be looking at India as a growth market for you more than anywhere else?
No, I think India, everybody's eyes are in India. So obviously, I was told, I was talking informally with Rahul and Sohail, and they said that they intend to have 200 hotels in the next 3 years. So India is going to be a big story. We want to bring the farm to India. Farm is going to go global. We have a very hefty, very strong pipeline. We want to be in India, we want to be in Middle East, we want to be in Europe, probably also somewhere in US. I think Nepal, we are growing. We've already 6 hotels and 2 under construction. So I think Nepal will happen, It's just happened because of the power of the group's activities there. Real estate sits in, in most part of the Nepal, and Nepal will always remain an important destination. That's my conviction. Now that Nepal has 3 international airports instead of 1, we need to fix a little bit of the politics. Then Nepal will probably sit in the most prosperous status in the South Asian continent.
And I know you're trying to fix politics in Nepal, but we'll come to that towards the latter part of this chat. You brought up, the farm, which of course has built a fabulous equity for itself. And I recall I was involved in the valuation of that when you took it over. It's got some rave reviews, and there's some wonderful stuff that happens at the farm on the wellness front. I just wanted to get your little take on how are you seeing wellness as a segment and you're talking about bringing it to India and taking it to other parts of the world. It hasn't so far gone out of Philippines where it exists, but is that a sector that's exciting you now?
Well, yes, thanks for reminding me. You were very much part of the whole transaction that took place. And actually, the farm has revolved big time after that. I think it's a completely different level of experience, size, scale. You know, post-COVID, we all know that wellness became the mantra. You know, it's $1 trillion industry. Everybody, even those brands and companies who had nothing to do with wellness wanted to have some component which revolved around wellness. Everybody wanted to go to places where they felt safe, you know, better looked after in terms of food, in terms of some kind of a healthy support system, therapeutic treatments, massages, other forms of, you know, alternate healing therapies. So I think that has evolved. It is fast becoming a way of life. I meet amongst my own friends, I mean, anywhere I go, and everyone is going out on a wellness holiday these days. Great. Everybody wants to, so I think it's an industry which India still needs to, if we are talking about India, in my opinion, India really needs to break into. Okay, there are a few properties, and I've been to most of them in Kerala, but I think India needs a world-class destination wellness. In any case, resort business in India is doing very well, as we all know, post-COVID, and similar is the situation.
Right. On a lighter note, when we were doing that valuation, I couldn't travel to the farm, and I had an IOU that I could travel later.
Yes,
so can I encash it now?
Yes. One, buy one, get one free.
There you are, the real businessman. He's still selling me a holiday. Tell us a
Mandeep,
little.
you and me made a deal outside when we were talking informally. I asked you that a question which has been bothering me, even from the time when I used to be pretty active in the hospitality space. I was looking at the graph when my friend Mr. Puneet Chatwal was talking. I mean, India is still hovering around the 10 million international tourist mark. Okay? I mean, by no standard, anybody can justify that. From 10 million, it went down to 4 and 3 or whatever, and even now, as of August, it still stands at about 6 million. If you ask me, I mean, I can give you two closest examples. Like, we had already reached Nepal 1 million. And India is 40 times bigger than Nepal. Sri Lanka was close to reaching 2 million. Okay, why I don't want to talk about Spain or Thailand or Bali. I'm picking up examples of countries which are not that well run, but India is, of course, much better run today. I don't know what is wrong. I mean, okay, the Indian industry is growing, everybody is growing, tons of business is happening. We are doing extremely well. It's all because of the growing spending power and willingness of the Indian internal domestic traffic. And India has everything to offer. Okay? There is nothing that Nepal or India, except for the Everest, Sri Lanka, that India can't offer. Why this? Why there are big international brands here now, starting from Marriott to Radisson's been always there, and Accor to IHG and others, who have the distribution all over the world. Because we are active globally, we know that if they want the kind of a job that they can do to sell India, India has done a great job in terms of selling India as a country, in terms of building the brand equity, and hats off to Prime Minister Modi. But why that is not getting reflected in the international travel business? Why? Because India is that this Hindu rate of growth of 5%, 10% on this 10 million is not going to take the industry anywhere. I want to know from you.
I never bargained for this. I thought being a moderator, only I get to ask the questions. I'm being put on the spot. But let me try and give you a little perspective, at least from where I am, where I stand, and from where I see whatever is happening. I remember a statement. I was in ITC 2001 to 2006. This is somewhere around 2002 when we were trying to target, or 2003, when we were trying to target 5 million tourists, right? And it was a tall order. And I know Major Aman, who was at that time the managing director, made a statement internally. He says, when we reach that 5 million mark, and if we reach that 5 million mark, neither we as a sector nor the tourists will know how to manage that, because the sector was not fully ready for it. We've grown a lot since then, but let's put a little bit into perspective on this whole number game that we keep talking about. Firstly, we never had the infrastructure to bring more people into the country. The first thing you need to bring more people into the country, obviously, is airports and flights, right? In terms of the infrastructure. Otherwise, how are people going to come? You need more gateway airports. You need more. Then the airports can't be restricted to metro cities. You need to have connectivity to various destinations, right? That connectivity was always an issue. We've moved, and now we see all those figures from 50 airports to 150 airports in the last few years. So we were not ready as a destination. Hotel rooms, we're still at 165,000, 170,000 branded rooms. And those two are concentrated in the top 10, 15 cities of India. If you have to create tourism where we have so much to offer, we need more flights, more connectivity to those destinations, more hotel rooms, better infrastructure. It all clubs together. It's not only about going to a destination, it is what you do at that destination. So for example, I'll give you a small thought that Agra, which has the Taj Mahal, right, which is one of the world's most well-known heritage site. But if you go to Agra, and this has been going on from time immemorial, beyond going to the Taj Mahal, there is practically nothing you can do in that city, right? That city has not evolved itself to attract more tourism. So therefore you go to the Taj Mahal and then you come back. So it's always been a 1.5 day kind of destination. So that is changing with so much more infrastructure that is coming. Like I just mentioned, we've got these now 115, we're getting another 100 airports. We've got all these new flights which are coming in. We've been talking about the new addition of almost 1,000 aircrafts into India. The airline sector is talking about growing at 15, 16, 17% every year. Our last mile connectivity has become a lot better. Our roads have become fabulous. We have enough stuff to do. We've got now shopping districts. There's a whole new industry on F&B and F&B experiences which have come up. So as a destination, India, we're getting more ready to get the large number of inflows in, but the key will continue to be the connectivity into India. And of course, geopolitically, we've become important. There's a lot of talk about India in the world media. Suddenly people are looking up at India. There's a lot of stuff that we're doing which is capturing the attention of the world. The digital leadership that we had, the IT leadership, and many of the global leaders in the corporate world are now Indians, and Indians are also getting into global political positions, as you know, in UK and many other parts, in Canada and many other parts of the country, and the US. That's positioning India at a very different level, right? And this is where I think that the euphoria that we see in the room and when we talk to hospitality leaders today is coming from that our time is coming now. We've been waiting. It's like in school, my report card used to always say, excellent student can do better. That's been India's report card for the last 15 years, 20 years. Excellent destination, lots of potential, can do better, but we were not getting there. I think we've reached that stage where that potential is now turning. I think we're at that cusp. I think clearly, if you look at even how the economy is, the growth of the economy, at just about 7% or just under the fact that we will become a 7 trillion economy in the next 4 or 5 years, the third largest economy in the world, the infrastructure investment that's happening, and just that the world is taking notice of us will change. And definitely this 10 million or 11 million where we were last before COVID is very rapidly going to see a change. And you're right, for the size of our country and what we have to offer, we should be looking at 50, 60 million tourists at least. We're still below the 1% global share of tourism, but it's going to change.
Well, I mean, I thought I'm in politics, but you are making political statement.
Am I?
Yeah. You know, I don't think that's really true, and I can afford to say this on this podium. I think Indian hotel industry, Indian travel industry, international travel industry which is operating in India, they need to work with the government, and government needs to put them in the front to promote India. I don't think that's happening. Okay, people are selling their properties. To sell India as a whole, I think India has come a long way. I think some of the campaigns that India has run in the past are incredible. You know, I'm not only talking about the God's own country, I'm talking about incredible India, etc. Your airports have become world class. Your train connectivity, your quality of trains have become world class. I think aviation, I mean, your connectivity, I think what is India lacking in drawing India? A, the entertainment piece, which nobody is addressing. B, working with the Indian industry and taking them out and making them the ambassadors of India for hospitality industry. I don't know how much, because we do businesses all over the world. So we don't see that happening much. And we'd like to see that happen. I think India can easily handle and should handle 30, 40 million tourists, as you rightly said. And that's not going to happen with the way I see the numbers now. Even this year, you are talking about 6.8 million by August, which is 2/3. You will land up still at less than 11 million. So I think there is a major correction that needs to be done. I mean, it's for the industry to say, no, we're quite happy. And also talking about the second tier, third tier we saw, including Taj, not to talk about companies like us in concept. I think everyone is growing in second tier and third tier cities. There is no dearth of good quality accommodations in these places. Yeah. So there is something which is missing. That's my concern.
I think, it's an evolution process. Hotel infrastructure will keep pace with the rest of the infrastructure in the country. It can't come before the rest of the infrastructure. And therefore, we are only catching up once the infrastructure is getting ready, despite the fact that we may wish to have more rooms and a better delivery. But it has to be in line with the infrastructure in the country. Please understand, the government has not really been actively able to support, and it comes from our socialist mindset, right? For a government, to support a sector which they perceive, to be elitist, has been the hindrance for us, right?
Now you're being honest.
So it's a fact. They've held back, to openly support the sector. It's now that the understanding is getting, better and better. I think the states are taking the lead because they're understanding that what tourism brings to their state brings fabulous rewards to them, and the fact that the industry is beyond just the elitist part of the industry, or what is considered to be elitist part of the industry, which is the luxury sector. There's a whole need to build economy, mid-scale, upper mid-scale, etc. And therefore, that is where we are going to see exponential growth, as I see it. I think it's the time for us now to take the next leap and bound. We have been, talking about this for a very, very long time, that we need to get to the next level. I think we are getting there. I think you'll see figures, jumping because of the base being very small, and it'll happen. But I think
all the best.
We're running out of time.
So over to you.
Yeah. So just before we wrap up, two questions. is hospitality going to continue to be a significant focus? Is there investments that you're going to make in India on the hospitality sector?
Definitely, and I would say that even in terms of our group and our focus, the story for our expansion across, not only within India, but worldwide, across different segments where we are. And we have a pretty unique positioning as a company. You know, we are investors. Somewhere we work with the other brands and other partners. We let them manage our properties. Many places we manage our own properties. We are happy to co-invest. So we are and we are all the way from wellness to wildlife, to resorts, to city hotels, to mid-tier hotels. So I think we've got that whole spectrum. And I think our company is pretty much poised to grow big time. And our Rahul's life revolves around hospitality, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that will happen.
He told me not to talk about, ask you about his girlfriends, etc. So I won't. But is collaboration going to be the way forward, given that you're a very significant partner with Taj, you work with other brands, with Radisson, with Fairmont, and now I'm told with Hilton as well.
Yeah.
So is that going to be the way forward for you?
Yes, definitely. I think we are going to grow. We have grown significantly with Taj. There was a phase where we were stagnating, but today we already have about 17 hotels opened or to be opened or to be branded with Taj, okay, which is going to go to 25 very soon. We will make on the occasion of our 25 years of partnership, we are going to come out with a major statement. We are also going to grow with our other hotel partners. We are in partnership with Marriott, as you know, in Nepal.
Correct.
Which, who knows, things may go to a different level. We are with Accor in Africa. So I think this is, and we are bringing in the real estate component as many other companies do. So I think this is we are in it in a serious way.
Wonderful. And last question, you talked about fixing politics in Nepal. I know you won the election and now you're a member of parliament. Is that now the focus for you? You're going to spend more time in politics and let your children run the business, which they already are?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. I mean, you know, my identity is Nepal. Nepal is my home. We are fourth generation there. And I think there is a lot that Nepal can do and should do. I think I decided to give some very important years of my life to work for Nepal. We're doing that as businessmen, as foundations, but that's not enough. You need a strong political intervention. And I've started that process. People have been very good to me. The parties have been good to me. I'm an elected member of parliament, which is not easy, you know, for a man of Indian origin. And more importantly, a major business house getting into politics. Ki ab baki to kuch raha nahi, ye ek tha, yahan bhi ghus gaye, you know.
Right.
So, but I'm very optimistic that Nepal is going through that major transition where the next generation, we will see in the next 4 to 5 years' time, a major change where economic priorities of the country you will see on the center stage. And that's what Nepal needs.
More power and more success to you, Binod. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Binod Chaudhary.
Thank you. Thank you, Mandeep. Thank you.